Welcome to the Cooking Without Looking TV show, Blind Chef versus Sighted Chef Challenge. I'm your host, Alan Preston. And as you know, we've been focused on the home chef who happens to be blind or visually impaired. But today we're introduced to a professional chef who is blind. While we may be familiar with Christine Ha, who is blind, the first blind contestant of the Master Chef and the winner of its third season in 2012, there are many blind or visually impaired professional chefs all over the world. So today we are going to introduce you to Debra Erickson, MS, executive chef and founder of the Blind Kitchen. She's the one who will prepare shrimp poached in orange juice, ginger, and oh boy, Sauternes. I hope I pronounced that right. Then Chef Earl Frederick Jr., or Chef Earl as he likes to be called, CEO, who was Chef Debra's chef instructor and who is not visually impaired, who will prepare the same recipe, only he will be blindfolded. But before we get started, here's a reminder that all of us on the Cooking Without Looking TV show, except Chef Earl today, are either blind or visually impaired. So get ready, get set, and here we go on the Blind Chef versus Sighted Chef Cooking Without Looking Challenge. Today, I'm happy to introduce you to Debra Erickson, MS, executive chef and founder of the Blind Kitchen. Welcome, Chef Debra.
Thank you, Alan. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Chef Debra, tell us a little bit about your life and your subsequent vision loss.
Okay, well, I have an eye disease called retinitis pigmentosa. I'm one of 12 children, and 3 out of the 12 have it. I was diagnosed at 28, but when they went back through the records of when us kids went to the doctors, I had signs of decreased peripheral vision when I was 17. So this has been a long time coming. My vision now is, I can see light, but out of one eye, but I have absolutely no peripheral vision, no color vision. Everything is cloudy. And so but I learned my blind skills, and I can do almost everything except devein a shrimp, but that's another story.
Well, now, Chef Debra, as we know, this is a challenge between you and your chef instructor, Chef Earl. Do you have anything to say? Oh no. Oh my God, hang on here a minute. My screen just went blank. Do you have anything to say to Chef Earl before you get started?
I do. Chef Earl I totally respect this man. He is an excellent chef. And I respect him even more for agreeing to take this challenge, because it's not easy to lose your vision all at one time. It's hard to adjust. And I just really respect that he was willing to take this challenge. So thank you, Chef Earl.
Pleasure.
Okay, Chef Debra, the stage is all yours. Tell us what you're about to prepare for our Cooking Without Looking Chef Challenge.
Okay, the simple title of this recipe is shrimp poached in an orange butter sauce, and I'm also going to poach an egg at the end. I did a variation of the recipe that I did in culinary school, and in fact, this was my final practical in culinary school. And I need to put a couple of things out there. Number one, in culinary school, when we did our practicals, we were given a certain amount of time, and then we had to prepare it and get it done in time. And I wasn't the only one that did get it done in time, but I but I was one that didn't ever get it done in time. So, but this recipe was the one I selected. It's a pretty quick cooking process, so I think we'll get through it. And instead of you watching me slice carrots for 18 minutes, I sliced up the carrots. I'll do a few cuts and things like that so that you get the gist of what's going on here, but I won't take up too much time.
I was hoping we get a chance to see you handle a knife.
You will, and a stovetop. So, and the other thing I'm going to do is talk about some of the tools I use to help make the food extra attractive. So to start out in the blind kitchen, I usually describe what I'm wearing, and today I'm wearing a pink chef coat, and I also wear a pair of earrings that are associated with what I'm doing. So I thought these were shrimp, but I was explained today that there are actually lobsters hanging from my ears, and the lobster looks like he is biting or holding on to my ear with a claw. So I thought that's kind of funny. So,
I love it.
so I'm going to describe a little bit about my area here. I'm standing at a counter and I have a large work tray in front of me. I could not survive without work trays. They keep me organized, they keep me clean. And I use them even for cutting boards. To the left of me is a cutting board, that a work tray that contains mostly egg items and food items, because I do quite a bit of cutting for the aromatics and stuff. And then on the right work tray right now, there's nothing on it. I've got the makings for the sauce, like the liquids and such, but I'm going to use this to butterfly a shrimp. And so I want to make sure I can do it on the circuit and then get it out of my way so I can just continue on. So the first part of this recipe involves what we call an herb bag, and it's basically a cheesecloth bag. And in it, I have a bay leaf and 2 whole star anise. I can pull the drawstring shut. I'm going to move it over near the stove where I'm going to be actually cooking the sauce so that it's handy when I come over there. Okay. The next part of this recipe, we're going to talk about the cutting stuff. So to my left, I have green onions, I have garlic, I have carrots, and I have the egg stuff. And I'm going to show you how I actually did the carrots. So I've got a carrot here, and I'm going to put it on the tray. So what this tool looks like, it looks like a fork with like 12 3-inch prongs. And you put it specifically right into the food, and then you hold it down. And I use this for tomatoes, which are very hard to judge, even if you can see. And I'm going to grab a knife here. I have them in a sharps basket. I have a sharps basket that contains any sharp objects that are at my workstation. I also have one at the sink behind me, so that once I do devein or butterfly the shrimp, the knife will then be contaminated and I'll carry it right over to the sink. I don't have time to clean it, but I'll clean it later. So now I've got the knife. I've used my sense of touch to guide it into this last 2 prongs, and I just push down. And now I'm going to move it one more over, and I'm going to just push down. And I'm going to do that just a couple times so you can see. It takes a little practice and it takes more time. But what this does is it allows me to cut some perfect little coins of carrots. Okay, so that's what we did. I want to describe a little more of my work tray area here too. So I'm dropping this right now into what I call a scraps bowl, and it is above my center work tray, the one I work mostly on, to the left. In front of my work tray at the very top, not on the work tray, are the sharps basket. And to the right of that, I've got salt and pepper. You have to season at every level that you can. And so I always have, this is the work setup I have. So the other thing I want you to know is I am going to garnish this dish with no less than 5 garnishes. I have and they're arranged in alphabetical order. I have cashews, which they're already roasted and lightly salted, and I just broke them into pieces with my fingers. The next one are green onions. I just cut off about 2 inches of a green end of a green onion, and then I use my scissors and my fingernails to break them into small strips so they actually look like little blades of grass. Very elegant and very pretty. The
You
third
do all
one,
that by feel?
oh yeah. Now this is another so this is another thing. I'm going to use a pair of kitchen scissors. This works beautifully for any type of fresh herbs, parsley. I happen to have mint in here. And so all you do is you put the scissors in the bowl, you say contain, if it contains oils, and then you run the scissors, check it, is it small enough? Nope, I want it to be a little smaller. And this works with almost any fresh herb that you're using. It's a real game changer. So that's how I did the mint. And I also want to say the rice is already made, and I've actually started the initial part of my plating because you watching me use ice cream scoop is not the best use of your time. But I actually put a mint tea bag in the rice cooker with the rice so that mint would be gently infused into the rice. So again, another layer of seasoning. The next one, I have 2 mint trees, is what I'm going to call them. They're just the ends of, they have like 5 leaves on each tree. And that's going to be part of my garnish. And then at the end, I have orange zest. So let's start to work with the orange. I'm going to go over here to my side counter. And I've got an orange here, and I'm going to tell you about a couple of different tools. I have most of the orange zest I need in this bowl, but I'd like to show you this tool. So I have a box grater here, and it's a mini box grater. It's about the size for a Barbie doll. And all I have to do on this orange is to find the bowl with my finger, and then I'm doing the orange with the grater. And this way I'm not using a big one. There's no real estate to find. And I can just tap that zest. Oh, you can smell that right away. I wish I had smell-o-vision. So that's how I zested the shrimp.
Sounds like a lot less chance of getting skinned in that zest too. I like that idea. Where do you get that little thing?
You can get in the blind kitchen.
Okay.
Yep. So that's how the blind kitchen started. I just wanted to solve a lot of problems, and that's what I was doing. Second. My knife, I always put it back.
I also like the idea of your sharps tray. I assume you keep the handles all towards one end. Would that be correct?
I do. I keep the blade towards one end, and I put anything that's sharp in there. I put anything, the box graters in there because you could cut your fingers. It has blades on it. I put the kitchen scissors in there. I put peelers in there. Anything that I could possibly get cut on.
And the handles all go to your right?
What's that?
The handles all go to the right or the left for you?
To the left.
To the left for you.
That's
I
where
have a magnetic rack that I put all my sharp knives on that I use all the time. Although the kitchen scissors don't attract to it for some reason. I think it's a quality of stainless steel. So I have a cup on top of my countertop that I put that and a couple of other tools that don't attach the magnetic holder also.
But what you do have is you're organized. And
yes.
And keep it, that's so important.
Knowing your kitchen, knowing where everything is.
Mm-hmm. So the next thing I'm going to do is I've got this orange here in front of me, and I'm holding it from the equator to the North Pole to the South Pole. I'm going to be cutting a garnish here. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut off one end of it. Yeah, there we go. Start to it. Okay, and again, I'm going to remove that to the end to the scraps bowl because I don't need it. And then I'm going to cut 2 wheels here. I'm going to cut going down, and I can feel the knife moving down the orange, and that helps me know that I'm cutting in a straight line, but I certainly could have used the slicing guide for this. Tomatoes, it's a must for that. So I'm going to come down the other one. There we go. And I've got my 2 oranges, and then I'm just going to do one more quick thing with these. I'm going to find the center of the wheel, put the knife tip in it, and then cut it out through the edges. So I've just got a cut coming from the center to the outside of it. And then I'm going to do the other one the same way. And it's going to come down. I'm going to make sure this makes it into the sharps basket this time. Okay, so I'm just going to take these, and they're going to go with the mint trees, and they'll be part of the garnish later. So I also have hanging from towel hooks that work with my apron, a wet towel on one side and a dry one on the other side. So that way I don't have to keep running into the sink to wash my hands. I certainly will when we start doing the proteins, but we don't need to right now. So I'm gonna go get that shrimp out.
That's a good idea, a wet towel and a dry towel.
Mhm. And the other thing is I can't tell you how many times, no matter how careful I've tried to be, that I put the towel down very carefully, and when I come back, it's not where I put it. And generally I find it on the floor when I step on it.
Yes.
So these shrimp, I bought them deveined with the shell on. So I've just got one to do here because it takes me a little bit of while and I didn't. So I'm going back over the scrap spool and I'm actually peeling this shrimp shell off. I want to leave the tail on because that's fancy and I can charge more per plate if I leave the tail on. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off and leave the tail on, and that's good. Now the way I am going to, I got to dip my hands because I'm going to be touching the thing. So
Hi,
I also,
Debbie Doo.
hi, Dino. That's my brother. So I've got the shrimp in my hand. I'm working over the right tray. So a couple things. You just saw me went to the sink to do hot soapy water, and I run about a couple inches in my right sink, and that is so that when I'm holding something like shrimp in this knife that I am right now, where I don't want to touch the controls, I don't want to touch the faucet, I can just use the back of my hands or my forearms, find out where the right side of the sink is, dip my fingers right in the water, and I'm good to go. It's a big time saver, and I don't have to decontaminate. So I've just cut this shrimp. I followed the devein. It's pretty easy to do. And I don't want to cut it too far, but I cut it just a little bit. Now the tail wants to curl where the head used to be, and I'm going to put it in this little strainer. So let me get this out of the way here. I'm done with cutting for today. So I'm going to put it. I don't have
Debra, is it considered cheating to buy the ones that are already peeled and deveined?
Absolutely not.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
not. The problem with, and I do buy those, except that these I wanted the tail for, because this is a fancy dish. So the other thing I've done is I'm cooking 6 shrimp. And now all of them are in that position where they're laying on their tummies and their tails are coming up over their heads. So if I put those in the liquid, it takes me a long time, and I might accidentally put one on the other one. They might tip over. So I have actually a stainless steel perforated basket here. It's only about 2 inches high. And that way I can put all the shrimp in it. They're all ready to go. I'm not going to knock them over. And then I can drop them all in the pan at the same time. And if I'm trying to find those shrimp to get them out, because they only cook for 3.5 minutes or so before they turn to rubber, the last one's going to be in there significantly longer than the first ones. So this way I can pull it out. So that's another trick for you. Okay, so that's all done. Okay, I'm going to go over and we're going to make the sauce. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've got a steep-sided deep saute pan. I highly encourage you to get one, and it doesn't have sloped sides, because I think of sloped sides as an off-ramp for food. You know, there it goes. If you get these with, they're more like walls, it really helps you know that you've got the food in place. So I'm going to turn on my stove.
How do you have your stove marked?
I bump dots.
Pardon me?
But bump dots is what I started with, and they're still on, and I'm touching it right now. But
Okay.
over time, you learn to know about how far you're going.
Okay.
So the first thing I'm going to do is deglaze this empty pan with wine. And I'm going to use my egg poaching water, that's on the back burner, to find out when it's ready to receive the wine. And while I'm waiting for that to come to, turn it up a little bit more. I'm going to explain the next tool I'm going to use. So I have this bottle of wine. It's a sweet dessert wine, and never use cooking wine. That is just awful. It has a special.
Yeah, be sure you don't drink out of it before you pour it. It's Dana.
That's Dana. So just to let you know, when these people pop up, I told you I was one of 12 children, and we all begin with D, all of our names. So if somebody speaks, it's probably going to be one of my sibs, which I appreciate you guys coming.
Hello, Deb, the other blind mice here.
Oh, Dan and so Darren and
Yep.
Dean, you've heard both of their voices. They're the other 2 brothers with retinitis pigmentosa, and they have good attitudes too. So this auto measure spout, it'll dispense exactly 1 tablespoon of liquid and then stop, even if I'm holding it upside down. I use it, so I'm gonna show you how that works. I pour it upside down. And it stops. Now I'm gonna pour it down again.
How interesting. 1 tablespoon every time, eh?
Every time. Let me turn this down a little bit. Yep, and you can still hold it upside down. So I can smell that wine is cooking. I'm gonna let it cook the alcohol out of it because we don't want to get our guests drunk. We just want them to have a good meal. And I've got a long wooden spoon in there. I'll explain that in a minute. And now I have olive oil, and I want 2 tablespoons of this too. I'm still holding it upside down and it quit going. So I'm gonna move that out of the way. I'm gonna turn this down just a little bit more. Okay, and now I'm gonna go to the refrigerator and I am going to get 2 pats of butter. They're about 2 tablespoons each. I use a butter slicer and that lets you cut a stick of butter into pats. And I do that all in advance. And I do this at home too, so that I can just reach in the refrigerator and grab it. I don't need to grab a knife, and the measurements are pretty good. So I'm going to drop these in the pan. And this is going to be the beginning of my sauce. Now, one other tip I have for you is I've got a long handled wooden spoon here. It's 16 inches. It hangs out way over the side of the pan. But I use it for 2 reasons. One, it can't drop into the pan. The handle's just too darn long. And the other reason I do it is because wood doesn't conduct heat. So then I can just leave it in the pan. And trying not to be a messy cook can really be a challenge, but this is one solution for that. Okay, smelling it.
I have one with about a 10-inch handle on it that I found to be just right for me. But I use pans because I'm only cooking for 1 person.
Oh yeah, so yeah, you're exactly right, Alan. It depends on what size pan how much you're cooking. So I'm holding a little dish in my hand, and in it is 1 teaspoon of grated ginger, 1 teaspoon of grated garlic, or 2 teaspoons of grated garlic, and 3 finely minced, the white part of the green onions. And I'm going to drop this in the pan now. I use the mini box grater to be able to achieve it because I'm not going to have time to strain this, the end sauce, which in a perfect world I would. But I don't want anybody to get any big chunks of onion or garlic or whatever. So that was my solution for that. Okay. Put that near the sink. Okay. So these are very small pieces. Garlic especially burns very quickly. So I'm only going to need to saute these for just a couple of seconds. I'm waiting till it smells that it's translucent and you can smell it, but I do smell all the time. And that's really fragrant. I can tell that it's where I want it to be. So I'm going to put the spoon down now, and I'm going to go back to this work tray. And now I have the orange juice. I'm going to add the orange juice to this pan.
I'm curious, where do you get your orange juice? What is it? Frozen concentrate, fresh?
Freshly squeezed. Yep.
Squeezed off your own trees?
No, no. I live actually on a floating home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's not much room for an orchard there.
Well, up until the time I moved into a condo, I used to have fruit trees in my backyard.
Oh, nice. Okay, so the second thing, so the orange juice is in there. It's the way this is going to thicken is by both. I'm going to add more butter at the end to add glossiness and silkiness, but I'm definitely going to have to. Reduction is going to help it too. So bring it up a little bit higher. Now I've got that drawstring bag with the bay leaf and the star anise in it, and I'm tying that bay leaf. I'm tying the little cheesecloth bag to the handle so that when I need to get that bay leaf out of it and that star anise, it's just like fishing. I'll just find the handle, find the bag, and pull it out of there. So here it goes.
That's a
into there.
wonderful little tip.
What's that?
That was a wonderful little tip. I don't know how
Oh,
often I'd ever do something like that, but that was a real good idea.
it's good if you like to bake with bay leaves and stuff like that. Turn this up just a little bit higher. Not as much action happening. So here are the other seasonings I'm going to use in this dish. One is Old Bay seasoning, and people often ask me how I mark my spices, and I use the pen friend for my spices. There's no one right labeling system, but there are a lot of them out there. And pen friend works for organize my earrings, and I have a different pen that organizes my spices. So
Whatever system works best for you, right?
exactly. So put that back down there. Quick stir so that can start incorporating in there. Got to be careful of the bag. And then the next thing I'm going to put in there is actually Worcestershire sauce. And this one is marked in Braille, and it's got a W, and I'm using a liquid dropper. So this is a bottle and dropper that is pre-measured, and I use it for the foods I want a tiny bit of, maybe hot sauce. In this case, Worcestershire sauce. I could sprinkle all day and never have any idea how much goes in there. And this makes it really quick and easy. So I want a tablespoon of this in here. Trying to find the pan, there we go. So I'm gonna do it 4 times.
Or the dropperfuls equals a tablespoon?
1/4. 1/4 teaspoon.
Or a teaspoon? Okay.
Teaspoon, yep.
So 4 of those equals 1 teaspoon.
Exactly right.
Right.
So the next thing I'm gonna do here is find the other one. And this one is marked with a Z, which is a little off, but it's Szechuan pepper. Oil. It's the oil Szechuan. And this is one thing that I learned in culinary school too, that if you ever get a chance, try Szechuan pepper. It kind of numbs your mouth. It's not especially hot, but it's a real unique sensation. And so we want to give as many sensation as we can. So I'm going to add a half for now, and then we'll be tasting later. And if I need to add more, I will, but you can always put it in, but you can't take it out. So, okay. So I'm not going to add any salt yet because the butter is salted, and we're going to wait and see how that goes. And shrimp can often come salted as well. So this seems to be going quite well. So the next thing I'm going to do is, we're going to leave this here till the shrimp comes. Okay, we're going to let that keep cooking. The next thing we're going to do is to poach an egg. So I have my locking lid pan, which is just a 5-quart pan, and it has a disc in here called a boil alert disc, and it is going to rattle. I'm calling it a poached egg, but the truth is I'm steaming it. I've never been able to do the poached egg thing. I've tried vortexes, I've tried putting vinegars in it. It just doesn't work for me. So I have a tool that I use called the egg poaching cup, but I need it to be in a closed, hot environment, moist environment for a fixed period of time, depending on how I want the egg to be. And this one, this will allow me to do that using my ears to monitor it.
Now, I'm a little curious, Chef Debra, exactly what is a poached egg versus a boiled egg or something like that?
Yeah, a poached egg is one that has been cooked in some type of a hot liquid. The hot liquid cooks the egg. Yeah.
Is it out of the shell when it cooks?
No, you take it's not in the shell. And they actually have it streaming in the water. Most chefs do, but I've found that to be almost impossible. So a hard-boiled egg is cooked in the shell. The water never touches it. Fried eggs are usually cooked in some type of fat. So right. That's not water. So a poached egg is an egg that is touching liquid. And in this case, the steam counts because it's not in contact with the bottom of the pan. It's the steam that's gonna cook it. So that's what makes an egg poached. Okay, so we're gonna wait here for that. Let me do another quick. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and taste this now. I'm going to use a tasting spoon. And what that is it's got about an 8-inch handle, and it's curved, and it holds a little more than a standard teaspoon. So my fingers are very far away from the liquid. I can put it all the way to the bottom of the pan and know that I've got it. So I'm holding up. I'm never going to taste over a pan, am I, Chef Earl? I'll get bad reviews. Oh,
And
that's
how
good.
was it?
It is delicious. It still needs a little more time. It's still a little bit runny, so we're gonna let it reduce for a little while longer. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and do the egg. So I'm back at my center work tray where my garnishes and stuff are. And I'm gonna go over here. Poaching basket is, we're gonna get it ready to go. It is a little silicone basket and it has a handle. So my fingers that comes up, so it stands about 5 inches tall, my fingers will never get near the heat of the egg or the water in any way that could hurt me. So the way I do eggs is I've got a saucer under here because I don't want to get this tray dirty. I want to keep the tray there. And I've got eggs. So I'm going to take an egg and I'm going to crack it. Now, if the yolk breaks, then I've got to get a different one because the poached egg always has the yolk intact. So I'm just cracking that down the side, using my fingers to guide it into the bowl. Now, I do get eggshells in my dish occasionally, but I didn't do this one, and they're easy to remove. They're surprisingly easy to feel. This one, the yolk is intact, and I don't have any shells. So I'm gonna pour it into this egg, to the poached basket, and then I'm going to move it over to the stovetop, so it's near where I'm at when I need to put it in. I'm not hearing that poaching water yet, but it'll happen soon. And I'm going to get rid of these just in case I had a little bit of a mess. I don't think I did, but better safe than sorry. Okay, so we've got the egg done. We've got that done. Oh, I'm starting to hear the water from the egg. So I think we're going to go ahead and poach the shrimp. So I'm going to take the spoon out of the pan. I'm just put it over here for now. And I'm going to take the shrimp over to this pan with me, and I'm going to drop it into the pan. All 6 of them at once. I'm double checking to make sure. Huh?
In the little basket?
In the little basket, yep.
Yeah.
So that way I can get them all in at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey Siri, set a timer for 3.5 minutes.
3.5 minutes, starting now.
Okay, so now I'm putting a lid on that. And I'm gonna take the little steel tray to the sink. I don't need that anymore. And I don't know if Chef Sonny remembers this. I know he's watching, that he used to say, there's Debra washing her hands again. It's just something I do. And I'm going to also take that work tray that might be contaminated over here too, because I don't want
You have
it
3
to
trays.
cause
And
any
this is great
problems.
for production, but I really only have 1 tray and so I keep washing 1 tray frequently.
I've got
I
a
like
half a
that
dozen of
idea,
them.
working over a tray.
Yep, yep. Okay. So I'm gonna turn up that. There it goes. Can you hear it? A rattle?
Other people may be able to. I'm not hearing well today.
Okay, well, anyway, I promise you, it is rattling in that pan right there. So,
You know, I have a stainless steel pot that I use on a magnetic induction cook plate that I use
those are nice.
frequently, and it has a metal top. And if I'm boiling water or something like that, I leave that metal top on there, and as soon as it starts to boil, that top rattles, and that's how I know it's boiling. It's
Bonus
wonderful.
points. Bonus points. So while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get the plate that we have prepared for rice and describe that to you. I have a plate in front of me here on the center work tray, And on it, it has a mound of rice. I took an 8-inch portion scoop, an 8-ounce portion scoop, which holds a cup of stuff. And then I put it in there, allowed it to cool a little bit, and then turned it upside down, and the starches hold it in a beautiful dome shape. But I didn't stop there. The next thing I did was I carved out, using a 1-ounce scoop, enough space for me to put the poached egg on top of this. Very fancy, very easy to do. And if you can scoop ice cream, you could do a presentation like this too. I've had the carrots to the side of this, kind of arranged in an artistic kind of way. And when those shrimp are done, they're gonna come over here, and I'm gonna put a shrimp all around this with the tail facing in, and then we're gonna get to the rest of it. So, hey Siri, how much time is left on the timer?
There's a timer with 37 seconds left.
Okay, we're gonna let it cook, but the other thing I just pulled out of my pocket, because I haven't used it yet, it's a talking thermometer. The shrimp has to be cooked to 145 degrees to be safe to consume. So I am going to temp it and make sure that it is. I'm sure it will be. I'm guessing it'll probably be more like 160 if I had to guess. Okay. So I'm gonna go
That'll
over
tell you
here.
the interior temperature of the shrimp.
Yeah, it's kind of overkill because they're so small, but just don't, in fact, maybe I won't do it because I know it's going to be right, but this is good for if you have. Hey Siri, stop the timer. So I'm going to pull the lid back off, and I'm going to reach into the pan, find those handles. There we go. 2 hands for this.
Now, how do you pick that up when it's so hot?
But when I put it in, I crossed them in such a way that it didn't fold down. There's 2 ways to fold these down.
Okay,
And so now I was able to get one of them. The other one I'm having a hard time getting. Put that down. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I'm picking this up. I'm putting a steel pie plate underneath it so that when I cross over to here, it won't.
plate underneath, yeah.
Exactly. And I'm going to
I
put
do
the shrimp here.
similar things, yeah.
And I'm going to go get a piece of foil. Another good tip, get pop-up foil to help you cook. It lets you do it one-handed, which I've always said if we're going to have vision loss, we should have been given an extra hand because I never have enough hands. So anything I can do one-handed, I do. So I've got that tented to keep it warm. So can you hear it now? The egg poacher? Maybe not. Okay, so I'm going to take this spoon.
I can hear it, Debbie.
You can hear, oh, good, good.
I'm glad you can.
Thanks, Data. Okay. Oh, here it is. Got the spoon. So I'm going to pull the lid off this pan. I'm going to make sure I get that boil alert disc off to the side. I'm using the wooden spoon, and now I'm dropping the egg in it. And I'm going to put the lid on the pan. Hey Siri, set a timer for 6 minutes.
6 minutes, starting now.
Okay, so let me give this another quick stir. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and put the shrimp on the plate. Yep. Well, I'm going to wait a few minutes because I want it to stay warm while that's going, and it's going to have about 4 or 5 minutes left. So the next thing I'm going to do is just going to turn up this saucepan just a little bit more to let
Hey,
it get
Deb,
a little thicker.
right.
Yeah,
In your carrots, are those hot too, or are you serving those?
I
Like
would
it-
serve them hot. This is the magic of TV. They're steaming hot, Dana, steaming hot.
I can feel it.
That's just that Indiana sun you're feeling.
Debbie, I was thinking this is how Mom used to cook, one thing at a time. All right, I'm done.
Okay, so I've got that sauce going. Yeah, I'm gonna put the shrimp on here now. And yes, I'm using my fingers because I'm cooking for my family and friends. But if I was at yeah, serving in a fancy restaurant or something, I would have to wear gloves because this food isn't going to be cooked further. So don't yell at me, Chef Earl. I didn't forget.
I wash my hands frequently and I do use my fingers because I get a better feel than I do through gloves.
Right, right. But restaurant patrons don't want to hear that.
Yeah, but I'm only cooking for me and maybe my
Right.
guide dog sometimes.
That's right. And believe me, we weren't allowed to eat the food. We could taste a little bit and not allowed to eat, but I eat food all the time when I'm cooking for myself. Okay, I'm going to take this out of my way so it's not in play. And by the way, I have a whole shrimp in here that I didn't know was there. So it's still got the shell on it. So there we go. It happens.
Chef Debra, you have an electric stove there, is that right?
It's a gas stove.
Oh, that's a gas stove?
Is.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
Well, as I say, I don't see so well either.
I probably
much
should have
prefer
mentioned that.
gas, but unfortunately here I'm only allowed an electric.
Okay. So I'm putting a trivet down here or a hot pad so that when I'm going to turn this off, the sauce pan, the one in the front, because I want it to start cooling. And the last thing I'm going to do, well, first I'm going to remove the sachet because I don't want to eat that or have to deal with it when I'm plating. And it's easy to find. It's still tied to the pan, so we're all good there. It's not wanting to come out, so I'll get
Deb,
the
can I ask you a
scissors.
question?
Yeah.
So, and it's really hard for me to see as well, but when you put the shrimp around the rice, are they all basically facing the same way?
Yes, so their tails are over their heads and the tails are pointing to the center of the rice.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yep. So that sauce is off and it's done. And now I'm going to go to the refrigerator and I'm going to get 4 more pats of butter. And the sauce is off. I'm not cooking this butter. I just want it to melt because if I cook it and it comes to a boil, it could separate. But this is just going to add such a nice glossiness to it and a mouthfeel to it. Butter's your friend.
Tell my cardiologist that.
I know. I threw one more in just for good measure. 2 things I have a hard time not using extra: butter and vanilla. Okay, so that pan was hot enough to melt that butter. I'm just gonna give it a couple minutes.
Chef Debra, if you're not a carrot fan, could you put broccoli with this?
Oh, 1000%.
Okay,
I was following a recipe by somebody in Miami. And so I changed it quite a bit, don't get me wrong. But this is what they used. But you could use parsnips, you could use pretty much anything.
Deb, I think Greg is still talking to you.
It is talking to me. And I can control that. If I'm doing something like poaching a pear or something like that, where I want it to be really mild, I can turn it, the sound and volume of that, the pace and volume of that are what
It changes.
it changes. Yeah, it gets harder and softer. Sorry, Dana.
You're fine.
So I'm going to carry this pan over here. Here, make sure the handle's out of the way. And it is. And I'm going to get it as close to this work tray as I can because I don't want to drip. I will drip. That's what I do. But I'm trying to lessen the chances. And because I have 6, whoa, almost got me. I have 6 shrimp on the plate, and about 6 tablespoons is the amount of.
Audio's out, Debra.
Uh-oh.
I can still hear her.
Oh, no, we hear her. That's okay. Keep going.
Okay. So
Remember to
I am-
look towards the right.
Okay. So I am going to put a tablespoon of sauce over each shrimp. Hey, Google, stop the timer. Oh, Echo. Hey, Siri, stop the timer. Okay, now I don't want that egg to cook any further, so I did half of the shrimp. gonna come over here, I'm gonna turn this off and get this egg out so it doesn't cook anymore. Make sure these are all off, they are. Stand on this one. I'm gonna reach in with my bare hands, I grab the handle, here comes that poached egg. I'm gonna put it over here for now, just out of my way. We're almost done. Okay, so I did 3 things of sauce. So I'm gonna do the last 3 shrimp.
You're arranging the shrimp around the rice now?
I am, yeah, I'm not on the rice yet. I just made sure it got on all the shrimp, but now I'm gonna put it on the rice and the carrots.
Okay.
It's nice. It's a buttery carrot sauce with that ginger and the wine. And so I'm just gonna pour a little bit of sauce. I just want to make sure they all got one first, for sure though. And my fingers are getting sticky, but I can wash those. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. This in the sink. Okay. So we're gonna grab that egg. Let me put it over here. And I have a spoon here. And I'm gonna take that egg. Oh, wait, no, we're not gonna do the egg yet. I'm gonna take the orange zest and I'm gonna spread that around on the shrimp and the carrots. It's just gonna bring them to the next level for sure. And it doesn't matter if some gets on the rice, I'm good with that. But just wanna get that all around. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is, now I'll put the egg on top. Because I want the egg to get garnished too. So I'm holding the egg with one hand, I'm holding the basket, and I'm using the fingers of the same hand to find that little cavity I've made for it. I'm pulling the spoon under the cup, so I know where I'm at. And that egg's gonna go.
It takes a little practice, I'll bet.
It does. And this basket has a shape, so I can tell when the yolk part is up, because it curves on the bottom. So the next thing I'm gonna do is go from, I'm doing the second one, which is the green onions, the little leaves of grass. And I'm just liberally sprinkling them over the top. They're not meant to be pretty, they're meant to be fancy. So here is some, now I've got the mint leaves. I'm putting all across the top. You can't go wrong here if you use sprinkles, because I could go wrong with the carrots if I arranged them wrong, but not with the sprinkles. And then the last thing on top, because this dish had no crunch, now it does. It's gonna have pieces of cashews so that it adds the crunch factor. Chef Earl, you're getting ready? I'm almost done.
I'm just watching. Well, I'm listening to you.
Okay, so, oh, one more thing. So those carrots that I cut a hole in, I'm actually gonna split them the opposite ways, and that's gonna make it stand on the plate. Let me find the corner. In an attractive way. And then I'm gonna reach into that same bowl, and remember I had those mint trees? I'm gonna put them as part of the garnish too, so they just look pretty. And I'm gonna do the same with the second garnish. In school, we got bad reviews if we didn't garnish things. So I'm gonna put this down here. And then I've got a tree there. We'll just set it on there. Very pretty. And I think we're finished. Bon appetit.
Your finished product. Can you hold it up so we can see that?
Sure.
Renee, you're gonna have to kind of help guide here, is that right?
Oh, it
Oh.
looks good, a little towards you, right? But it looks very nice. Thank you, Deborah. That was
Thank you.
great.
I
Great
forgot to
job.
wipe the edge of the plate.
Absolutely excellent. Chef Debra, do you have any words for Chef Frederick or Chef Earl before he begins?
He can cook circles around me, so I have all the confidence in him. Good luck, chef.
All right, Chef Debra, thank you so much. That sounds delicious. Now, on to your challenger, Chef R. Earl Frederick Jr. CEC, what? CEC, or as you simply like to be called, Chef Earl.
How you
Chef
doing
Earl,
today?
welcome. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm the lead culinary instructor here at the Todd McClaskey Culinary Institute here at Clark College in Vancouver, Washington, not BC. We are in Washington. Yeah, I've been cooking for over 20 years. Love instructing. I've been doing this for 8 years, and yeah, and just eager to take on this challenge today.
That is very impressive, Chef Earl. Now, tell us what you thought when Chef Debra first came to your school and you realized that she had vision loss.
Oh, well, when she first came, I got an email. We have a great disability support service department here at the school, so they always give us a heads up. My first thing was, how will we go ahead and do this? But that being said, Debra was more than willing to come in with her husband 2 months ahead of time, and we got everything under control. It actually made me a better instructor just so I could get everything in place.
So a little advanced prep time, everything worked regular in the class, right?
Oh yeah, and I remember we had to put pen readers up for every item that we have in the dry surge. And I want to say it was 2 weeks into the class that Debra came to us and said she didn't need the pen readers anymore. So yeah, she learned her way around the class. Like I said, that was probably my best class just because of the camaraderie, everybody coming together, all the safety and sanitation stuff that we talk about. I mean, it was heightened to 10 times. So it was just a joy to have her in class, and it's just a pleasure just watching her doing her thing right now.
So she was a pretty good student through class, eh?
Absolutely, absolutely. She always did her homework, which is something that could be a kind of struggle around here.
Homework always a struggle. So, do you have any parting words for Chef Debra before you start the cooking without looking chef challenge?
Yeah, I don't have an egg, so she's probably gonna win on that one right there. I did a little version of this recipe. Actually, the author of this recipe, Chef Allen, I did a style from about 20 years ago, so it's kind of good doing this recipe right now and doing my own little interpretation on it.
All right. So here we go, Chef Earl. It's your time to
All right.
do your blindfold.
Yep,
Speaking.
I can't see anything.
All right. Let's begin your part of the chef challenge.
All right. So I'm going to do a little bit more knife cut involved things. Just because, one of the things as a chef, knife skills is probably one of the most important things you can have in the kitchen. That being said, Debra has this nice tool right here, little finger guard. So once again, we talk about keeping your knuckles intact, right? Keeping that blade against the knuckles. You'll never cut yourself. So Jacques Pepin adage, you keep that blade glued to your knuckles. You will never lose sight of that blade right there. So I'm going to be using this to do some of the knife cuts. Right
Human
here, I
flesh
have my...
is not on the menu, right?
I'm sorry, say again?
Human flesh is not on the menu.
Absolutely, no biological contaminants here. So yeah, I do have my pie tin or our garbage bowl, so to speak. So a couple of things I'm going to do. I am going to stick in the vein of this recipe, but I did alter it a little bit. There are some similarities, like the Szechuan peppercorns, the carrots. But yeah, I did throw a little bit of things in there to kind of bulk up and account for not having the egg. So one of the first things I want to do is actually ginger. So ginger, very pungent spice. And that's going to go good with the garlic that we have. But I want to show you something, right? Best way to peel ginger is going to be with a spoon, right? You don't need to go ahead and cut it with a knife. You'll notice that once you go ahead and peel it, hopefully you get a good shot of that right there. It's all about turning them vegetables and making sure that all the peel is totally off.
You're doing that pretty much by feel?
Yes, all by feel. That's the one thing about cooking, right? If you lose one of your sights, all the other side, you lose one of your senses, the other senses are going to get heightened up. So that's kind of why I like the challenge, because I'm actually smelling a lot better being that I can't see anything right now.
I like to use my nose for things. I know Chef Debra has everything labeled, but even if I know what I'm opening up, I still like giving a little sniff just to make sure it's the garlic or whatever.
I got you. I got you. So yeah, we're gonna grate some of this garlic here. And I do have some, I'm sorry, we're gonna grate some of the ginger. I do have garlic here. Once again, using my nose to make sure that I know what is what. We're gonna grate some of that in here with this little grater. So once again, it can get very pungent, but scallions, garlic, ginger, those are some of the base flavors of this dish that we're making right here.
Is that that same little grater that Chef Debra was using?
Exactly. So yeah, once again, she gave me some tools, and I definitely want to showcase them. Yeah, because they do work really well. I even got the spout for the wine as well. So yeah, once again, I try to get everything as much prepared as I possibly can. But I did want to say some things real time just so you can see that, I'm a professional chef, but yeah, you losing your sight right here, I can see and, empathize how difficult it can be to maneuver around the kitchen.
Well,
All right,
knowing your kitchen is a big part of it, knowing where everything is.
Absolutely. That's like paramount around here. I'm one of those type of instructors that, if something is out of place, people know about it real quick. So yeah, make sure you put things back the way they need to be.
I'm an old high school shop teacher, and we had a little phrase that went something like, there's a place for everything and everything should be in its place.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. All right, so we have my garlic and ginger, and I do have my bus bin down below, so I can go ahead and get rid of my dirty stuff. Right, so this is what I just did. I'm gonna go ahead and put this right back over into my mise en place tray. All right, next thing I'm gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and cut green onions. So I did have the green onion tops over here for garnish at the end, but I did want to show you how to actually cut these along with the shallots that I have right here on the board as well. So yeah, we'll start out with this finger guard. All right.
I'm curious, are you working over a tray or is that a flat board?
This is a cutting board, flat cutting board.
Okay.
But I do have my trays on both the left and right hand side.
Okay.
But yeah, so with this tool right here, it really is designed so you go ahead and keep the blade right here. Now, what I want to do is just tell you or show you exactly how this works. Once again, you want to have this rocking motion. You'll hear it, the blade on the blade. So once again, I'm not demonstrating cutting yet, but I just want you to get the feel of it. Don't go any higher than what the guard is, otherwise the guard is going to be null and void. So once again, you hear that right there. It's almost like sharpening or honing your knife with a steel. You hear that motion.
A little practice, all that.
Say again?
I say, I bet it takes a little practice to do that.
Oh, yeah, definitely takes practice. Definitely takes practice. So yeah, what I'm going to do is normally what we do in culinary arts, I'm going to do this with the bare claw. So like Sauternes says, go ahead and put your knuckles right to the blade. You'll never lose track of it. You should never cut yourself. Should. Keyword, should. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead, feel that blade. And I'm going to make almost like a bias cut, really thin. And I'm going to go all the way to the end. A lot of people throw the whites away, but to me, I will go ahead and save those because that's going to give you a lot of base flavor. I get that all the way to the right.
Are you sure you can't see underneath that?
I can't see a thing right now.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm trying to be extra careful right now, just so I know where everything is. I do have my, all right, yes. See, I got everything I need so far. Now it's just a matter of putting it where it needs to be. And yes, Debra, thank you for this challenge. This is a challenge.
You are more than welcome. Can I tell a little story about Chef Earl? I had a human guide at the beginning to help me learn the real estate of the kitchen. It's a huge commercial kitchen. There's like 7 rooms to it. And so the chefs wouldn't have to take time from teaching to show me. She was able to be with me for a month or so. And I was standing next to her and she would also interpret for me what was going on. And she's like, oh my gosh. And I said, what's going on? She said, Chef Earl. I don't remember if she said he had shut his eyes or was looking at every person or had turned his head. And I could hear that knife. It never slowed a bit. That he he can cut with his eyes closed.
Yeah, so this re-emphasize what you're talking about. See, I got a little bit of I got a little bit of scallion left, so I'm gonna make sure I put that back in the appropriate place. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do some shallots. So I'm gonna cut these very thin. Same thing, right? Just make sure that's right there to the, and once again, you hear the sound. All about that sound and keeping track of your digits. The minute you start
Exactly where
putting
your
the thumb on the
hands are,
board, say
knowing your
goodbye.
equipment. And getting a little practice before you do it as fast as you do.
Oh yeah, definitely go slow. Like I said, I've been doing this for years, so yeah, I'm
You
pretty
didn't start
confident.
out quite that fast, right?
I'm sorry, say again?
You didn't start out quite that fast.
Oh no. Oh no. A lot of nicks, a lot of cuts is what you do to remember. Those mistakes you never go ahead and forget. So yeah, let's go ahead and got the shallots. So yeah, once again, I want to find the tool. Here we go. Now with the shallots, I'm gonna keep this over here because what I'm gonna do is shift over. I just gotta get my bearings under me. Like I said, knife safety is going to be paramount. I'm almost done with this knife. So one last thing I'm gonna do is cilantro. That's the last garnish that I need.
Having a good memory does help when you don't see well.
Oh, yeah, oh, absolutely. And I would test, Deborah had one of the greatest ones we've had in here. Keeps us on point. So cilantro, I'm going to use some of this in the base of the sauce and then some for garnish too. So yeah, once again, we got to go ahead and get that into a tight bundle. Yeah, I got to, full disclosure, I got to tell you, I practiced this for about a month before Debra came into the program, just so I could empathize and see exactly what this is all about. So yeah, even not doing it for a while, yeah, this is challenging.
So you have done this a little before, okay.
Oh yeah, it was a couple years back, but yeah, muscle memory.
Muscle memory, yes.
Well, yeah, once again, I'm going to try to find which field cilantro. Hold on. There you go. So yeah, once again, I just made sure I have everything in its place. And then we're going to start cooking. Now, what I have, I'm going to switch the cutting board to an induction burner where I already have on medium-low heat. So it's about 160 degrees. You always want to keep it there. That's at about the poached temperature that Debra was talking about. I'm sorry, Chef Debra was talking about. And you want to make sure you start off slow. So a couple of things I want to do to make sure the pan is ready to heat is use some water. And I want to get my pan lined up right. So before we even do that, I just want to make sure that I got my board away off. Once again, knife done with it right now. We're gonna go ahead and keep that down below. Safety. I know Debra has a nice sharp spin. Unfortunately, I don't have that today, so we're not going to use that. But once again, safety is first. And we're just going to get rid of this cutting board right over here.
You have a sink over there.
Oh yeah, we got some hot wells. I had to improvise a little bit, you know, for this shoot. But yeah, like you said before, it's nice to be familiar with your kitchen.
Are you using an electric stove or a gas stove?
I'm actually using an induction burner.
Induction burner. Okay, thank you.
So an induction burner, yep. So you can put cast iron in here, stainless steel, anything that's magnetic. So basically the magnets is gonna help it cook.
That's
So, yeah.
right. Anything that a magnet will stick to.
Exactly. Don't use aluminum. You'll be sorely disappointed.
I like my little magnetic cook plate.
Oh yeah, it works great. It keeps an even temperature. That's why we have a lot of these in here. All right, so once again, I wanted to make sure the pan is hot. And to test that safely, always want to use some water. Now we're going to test that. I heard it right there. So once again, your senses, that's going to tell you when you need to add things. All right, so that's ready to go ahead and add a little bit of oil. So I got some blended oil here, blend of olive oil and canola. Canola is going to help keep the smoke point high. Olive oil is going to be for the flavor.
Now, how do you know how much you're putting in there?
So I'm going to add about, I'll say about a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. Because once again, I'll go ahead and squeeze it. We'll swirl it around just to make sure it's where we want to be. All right, so I want to start now. I always tell people if you're got a dinner party, you're a little behind, you feel intimidated, go ahead and start some onions in the pan. It's going to make it smell that much better. People are going to be like, ooh, what's cooking? So then you buy yourself a little bit of time.
There's a little dip. I like that.
Oh, yeah, nothing like the smell of some onions. So, yeah, we got the shallots going here. So I'm trying to build some flavor here. Also got some carrots that we had cut earlier. Now I'm going to add these in now because I want to make sure that they cook. They lend this flavor. And I can tell this is a little high, so I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. You can hear it. All right. So another thing I'm going to add in here, Debra had mentioned earlier, Szechuan peppercorns.
Oh.
So yeah, that's going to give you a little bit of a numbing sensation. It's going to give you some spice. But it's not going to be overwhelming. It's not going to be hot, almost like chili flakes. We're going to add a little salt as well. Once again, we're building flavors here.
I find it interesting that you're not using a wooden spoon like Debra did, that you're.
Oh, I am. So I'm smelling right now. So that means it's almost ready for the garlic and the ginger. And that's what I'm going to go ahead and thank you right on cue. We're going to use this wooden spoon as soon as I can find out where it is. There we go. All right, so we got the garlic and ginger. Gonna add that in there, some nice aromatics. I hope
You
I'm hitting it right.
pre-measured these?
Yep, so it was according to the recipe that we already got. I did kind of wing it a little bit more garlic than ginger.
But you pre-measured those. You didn't measure them as you were putting them in.
Yeah. So yeah, once again, we want to go ahead and make sure that everything is cooked. It's smelling. So right now, what I'm going to do is chef friend water. I want to stop the cooking process because once again, I can't see, but I don't want it to burn. So I'm going to add a little water to kind of deglaze that. So yeah, we got
Add a little bit of water to that. Eh? That's interesting.
Go right back here into my little bell. Now we're going to go ahead and start building more flavor in our pan. We got some cilantro. Gonna add that in there, and then remember we're gonna use some for garnish as well. I think that is enough right there.
Seems to me, I remember Chef Debra telling us that her instructor required you use a lot of garnishes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. They have to be functional though. They can't just be on there just to be on there. They have to make sense. All right. So you got some green onions. Like I said, I'm going to use some of these in here, but I'm also going to use some for garnish.
It does make remembering where you put things very important.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see it's muscle memory where things are. And I just want to make sure I got everything in here that I need. So ginger, garlic, scallion.
Identifying things, yes.
Yep. So yeah, right now I can hear that the water is dissipating, so that's time to add some of the wine. So I do have not cooking wine. This is actually real wine, white wine. Don't use cooking wine because what happens is it has a lot of salt in there. So if you already salted your food and you put wine in there, it's going to be over salted. I really don't see the need for cooking wine. I understand it, but and with this nice little tool that Deborah has right here, we can kind of actually measure. And like you
Yeah, I
said,
like that little thing. That's kind of cool.
everything tastes better with wine, in my opinion.
I always thought the wine was for the chef. I don't
Oh,
know.
they are. Yeah, when it says a bottle, half of it's going in there and half for the chef, right?
There you go.
Just can't do that in school settings.
Yeah, I never heard
So
that
yeah, we're
lesson
gonna
so
build
far.
flavor. I want to cook this wine out. And once again, this is another challenge that I think I'm going to adopt in my class now, because this is, yes, I'm not gonna lie, this is very difficult.
The cooking without looking challenge.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I can cook, but yeah, when you lose that one thing that you really, is a crutch, yeah, it gets a little. I get it. I get it. This is good empathy. All right, so now I just gotta make sure I got everything I need. So we got cilantro. So in my hand, cilantro, scallions, garlic, ginger, a little salt, little wine. All right, so see how I'm going down the recipe in my head. Now I'm gonna try not to spill this orange juice that we have.
And of course, people talking to you and asking questions, that doesn't distract you any, does it?
Oh, no, not at all, not at all.
Absolutely, I understand.
So yeah, we got some orange juice. I'm not gonna use all of it. And this is fresh squeezed, not frozen concentrated.
Thank you.
Want to add that flavor. All right. Yeah, yeah, you can see I don't even know where I'm at right now, but I want to figure it out.
I'm a little curious what you're doing over there. I think you're off camera.
Oh no, I'm on camera. Oh, let me get back.
Oh, the
on.
camera just got moved a little. There you are.
Okay. All right, so what I'm knowing now, I need to turn it up a little bit. So we're gonna turn this up to a simmer because what I want to do is actually concentrate that flavor, get it down.
You're not concerned about it burning?
Oh no, at this point, no. Adding the liquid, right? I can hear. I'm using my senses for hearing.
Okay.
I want to make sure that as soon as it has that kind of sizzle or double bubble effect, then yeah, that's when I'm ready to turn it down. Once again, I want to get it up to the point where I cook the alcohol out, concentrate the flavor of the alcohol and the oranges in there, and then that's when we're gonna go ahead. As soon as I hear that, we're gonna add the shrimp in. Let's figure out where they are. All right. So these are already peeled and deveined. They do have the tails on. So once again, I need to kind of do it ahead of time. What we're gonna do here, I know I need to heat this up just a little bit more. As soon as this comes up to a simmer, we're gonna drop this in. I got a sheet pan that I'm gonna put on top because we want to concentrate all that heat so everything cooks properly. So there's a couple of good tools that Debra had. The boiling disc. I was going to use it for this, but once again, we kind of forgot the egg. I took that for granted. But yeah, that it does work. Okay, right now I can even hear it. That is at a boil, a simmer. So that's where we're going to add the shrimp. Trying not to move. But I got more than 6. I got some more people to feed here, so. Want to make
And
sure
you
that
had those directly on there where Debra used some kind of a tool in the pan that kept the shrimp kind of separated from that other stuff, correct?
Yes, he did. She did. And it's actually a very good tool to have to actually keep the plating the way it needs to be.
Okay.
I would say plating is not one of my strong points. I can make food taste good, looking good.
I'm a little bit curious here, Chef Earl. I know Chef Debra used some timers to timer stuff. How are you going to know when this is done?
So I don't have a timer. I have an internal timer up here. And I have one of the talking thermometers that she has, so I ensure that the food is safe to eat. I tried using timers, but trying to figure out where it was and shut it up, yeah, that wasn't working for me.
Well, that is a good point, but I use them. I kind of like them.
Oh no, I get you.
I guess it's what you get used to, isn't it?
Yep. All right, so I have my sheet pan here. I want to keep it on top, and I'm gonna steam. We're gonna steam our shrimp right there. All right, so real quick, I want you to go off camera because, like Debra said, I like to wash my hands, so that's what we're gonna do.
You're allowed to wash your hands. We'll even let you do it off. Oh, the camera's following you. And you know where your sink is, right?
I believe so. Off right there. There
It's
you
not
go.
where you left it the last time. Oh, it's a hand I saw pointing out there in the middle.
All right.
You're teaching out of what looks like a regular commercial kitchen, is that right?
I'm sorry, say again?
You're teaching out of a commercial kitchen, right?
That is correct. Yes, this is a commercial kitchen.
What I'm seeing looks like a lot of stainless steel.
Oh yeah, this is the end of the term, so it should be very clean. The health inspector even said it so. All right, so we're back. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, say some tongs. Well, actually, before I do that, let me go ahead and taste my food. We're gonna move this over here. Put that back on to help it cook.
That was actually pretty good navigation through your kitchen.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing. I'm usually on the other side of it, but yeah, being on this side, yeah, it's I wouldn't say challenging, but yeah, it's just a different view of what we normally do. All right, so I want to make sure I taste this. I know the shrimp isn't done yet. I can feel them. They're still on the little
You
candy
can tell
firm
by the
side.
feel.
I'm sorry, say again?
You can tell by the feel of the shrimp if they're
Oh,
done.
yeah. Yeah, when they curl up really tight, literally when they go into, let's see, a G, then they're really tight. They're good. When they're a C, they're almost ready to go ahead and cook. So the more they curl up and tighten up, the more cooked they are.
Interesting. Well, it's good to know.
All right. So yeah, I need to get another taste of it. And get as much as I wanted to. See if I got enough sauce in there.
Ah, I can almost smell that cooking here.
Okay, wow.
Hot?
I think Debra would be proud of that right there. That's got some flavor. Now I just gotta make sure it's
Mouth
cooked properly.
numb though. Is your mouth numb? Sorry.
All right, so we're gonna turn this up just a little bit. I want to finish cooking it. And then I want to go ahead and put my gloves on because I'm almost ready to go ahead and plate everything up. All right. Yay.
Thank you, cameraman.
Yes, thank you, cameraman.
Or camera person, excuse me. I don't know who's running it.
Just so you know, I have no help except for them that's actually filming me. So yeah, this is all I'm trying to do. This exactly like the challenge is. So my plate probably is going to look pretty elementary, I would say. I'm going to try my best. But once again, I understand the challenges with this right here. All right, so as soon as I get these gloves on, I want to check the shrimp.
Chef Earl, let me ask you this. How long would this dish take if you were doing it without the challenge?
Oh, without the challenge, probably about 6 minutes.
Okay. Just trying to get some perspective.
Yep. doesn't take a long time to cook. It's about building the flavor of the sauce first.
Okay.
And I know I got the thermometer here somewhere. Hey.
Spend a lot of time looking for things too.
All right, so I hear it. I'm gonna turn this down right here. What I'm gonna do is give it a nice stir. Because I want to ensure that everything is cooked. Hopefully they're all cooked. But the one thing to ensure that it's cooked properly, we're gonna go ahead and temp it. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and temp this shrimp.
So now I'm a little curious about that magnetic induction plate you're using there. How is the temperature set? Is it digital? Or is there a
Say it
dial?
again.
How do you
Oh, the
set the
dial?
temperature on your magnetic induction plate?
Oh, so it's actually digital. But there was one, I remember Debra used to use one. She had the bump bars on the actual knob right here, so she could actually see what the temperatures were.
Okay. Mine is digital. I have a little difficulty with it, but
I got you. Yeah, so I want to temp the shrimp. This is going to be talking to me. This is one of these thermometers I really like because it tells you the temperature. So as you can see, that's going to be a little lower than what I need. So we're going to go ahead and put this on full blast. We're going to go ahead and wipe my thermometer. Got my sanitizer down below. And I just got to make sure I got everything in this place that I need. I got my finishing plate is up here. And then my garnishes are going to be over here. Right over here. And then I got my landing spot right here for the shrimp. I just want to make sure. Here's my plate with the rice already ready. I hear that going. That seems a little shallow. So we're going to add a little bit more of that orange juice that we had. But then now we're just going to go ahead and get some water. I don't want to go ahead and make sure that we burn the shrimp.
yeah, you don't want to burn shrimp.
No, definitely. So we're going to add some water. Water, chef's best friend, keeps it from drying out. Keeps it from burning. So we don't want to burn anything here. All right, sounding good. That's good. This will be my last competition of the term. Now we have a student that's going to a national competition next week. So at least they get to go ahead and watch me sweat a little bit before they're in the same thing.
Oh, wow. They have national competitions about this, right? I didn't know
Oh, yeah.
that.
Yeah, my student, she won the Skills USA state competition here for the state of Washington. Now we're going to Atlanta, Georgia next week and compete in nationals.
My gosh, well, best of luck to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, to put it this way, I go there, this is my motto, we go there to win. So anything else, you know, we're going there to win, just put it that way.
Okay.
All right, this should be almost ready. I want to give it a taste, then we'll give it a temp. And I hope that I already know that the sauce that Debra made is probably going to be a lot better than mine. I don't even know how much I have in here.
I wish there was some way that we could taste.
Oh, well, I'll show you. It tastes good. It tastes good. As far as how much sauce I have, I lost track of my orange juice, so we're just gonna kind of omit that. How about that? But yeah, last thing I want to do is ensure that the temperature is above 145.
We can't give you any clues as to where that orange juice is. We can't tip you off.
That
I
wouldn't be
want to
fair.
help you so bad, man.
I, I don't know where the orange juice is.
So yeah, we are good to go.
I have no idea. I can't see it that well. I can just see a little movement there.
So yeah, we temped our food. Our food is good to go temperature wise. Now we just need to go ahead and make sure that we plated it out properly. And that will be the challenge. So I'll take this over here. I want to make sure that I have my landing pad for it. Right over here. All right, I have my plate. I do have my gloves on. Normally I would go ahead and would not use the gloves for this one, being I've ready to eat food. Even though I am preparing for people I know, I just want to make sure I have the gloves on. All right, so. Got the rice. I'm going to do a.
Now all the tails are pointing in and curled up, right?
Oh no. They're going to be on the plate, though, I guarantee. They'll be nice and cooked.
You know, from a visually impaired person's point of view, I don't care what it looks like either, as long as it's on the plate. I agree. But I think Debra did probably pretty good by lining up the little tails and.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. And that's what did we say? Mise en place? Yeah, she took it to the next level. So kudos to Debra for that.
Well, you know, Chef Earl, what Julia Child said was, if your food comes to you and it looks amazing, somebody's had their fingers all over it.
Yes, that is quite true.
Probably so.
All right, so I'm going to garnish up. Here's like a find my garnishes. And I went a little bit different. I do have a lemon wedge here. So cut it in half and we'll go ahead and put that on top. And I did have some garnishes. We got some, I think this is the orange zest that I have. That smells like orange. Make sure I got the flavor. There we go. A little of that. Feels like some green onions, maybe. So yeah, this will probably look like some of my first year students' first week plates, but that's all right. You know, we all learn in here.
I hope we have somebody cited here who's going to judge this.
Oh yeah, we definitely
Well, that's
do.
right. Yeah, in a minute or so, we're gonna let you take off your blindfold, aren't we?
All right. I think
We've
that's all.
judging all along.
I think that's all I have. I just want to make sure I got everything. That's the shrimp. That's the onions. That's something. Yeah, very good. Well, let's see how it came out.
Is that a picture of the finished plate?
I believe so.
Excellent.
Yes, it is. Beautiful.
Chef Earl, you can remove your blindfold and show and let us take a look at that finished product.
Oh,
What do you think?
it came out better than I thought. It's just that I lost the sauce. I needed that orange juice that was right there.
I don't know. We got
overall,
some
I might
cited
be
judges there. I know that Earl might, Chef Earl might be a little bit prejudiced there, but maybe we have some unbiased cited judges there.
So unbiased cited judges.
Personally, Chef Earl, I think you did pretty darn good for a person working in a blindfold. It was obvious you may have done this before.
It
but
looks
you
very
did pretty
good.
darn good.
Oh, actually, I haven't done this particular dish ever, but I just kind of did the feel, and yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I needed a little bit more liquid.
Yeah, any thoughts about what you just did here? Where's the
Yes.
orange juice? Yeah.
Never take anything for granted in the kitchen. Never take anything for granted, period. Right? This is humble me. This is definitely humble me. But that being said, if you have the tools, you have the discipline, you have the drive, anybody can do this right here. And Debra is the perfect example of what we're talking about.
Agreed. Nice
Thank
job.
you, Chef Earl. Chef Debra, do you have any thoughts or comments about Chef Earl's preparation?
You are seeing the man that taught me. All these wittisms and all this stuff coming out. We're in it to win it. The garnishes have to make sense. You can see why I enjoyed culinary school so much. And I enjoyed what he was doing today. I wish I could taste his food too.
I wish I could taste yours as well.
Well, if it smells like mine, we're doing pretty good, Chef Earl.
I think both of you did spectacular. And I'd like to thank both of you for preparing that wonderful dish. If only we could taste it here. With Renee, our producer.
I'd like to jump in here. I bet both of them were absolutely delicious. I'm Mary Ann, but I'm going to say Chef Debra wins on presentation.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
Well
done to both of you.
Both of you, very well done.
There's Denise.
Now, in our food for thought segment, we'd like to learn a little more about the blind kitchen from Chef Debra. Would you like to tell us a little more about the blind kitchen?
Sure. You just heard the web designer. I've got my videographer here. What it is, it's an online presence only, and I have gathered together and organized ways to solve kitchen conundrums if you're cooking with vision loss. And it's a lot of times just like the wooden spoon, just being creative in thinking about it. So my husband has been completely supportive of it. But if you go online, the website is clean, it's screen reader friendly, and all of the videos Audie described that tell you what the tools are, how to use them, and how to care for them. And they all come both wrapped in packages that are both large print and braille. So the whole idea of the blind kitchen was I stay in my lane. You know, people say, can you do this or can you do that? And it's like, nope, I cook. That's what I do. And so that's what I've tried to do is share these solutions. Culinary school certainly provided some problems that I had to learn how to solve. And that's what the blind kitchen is. It is the organization of all these gems of information I found in different places, in books, on the internet, podcasts, and that's how it came to be. And we're about 1.5 years old and growing, and without culinary school, I do not believe it would have ever happened. I really don't.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Thank you so much for what you do for the blind and visually impaired community, Chef Debra.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Absolutely.
Now, we'd also like to thank Chef Debra and Chef Earl for being such good sports to help us change the way we see blindness. We really appreciate it. Do either of you have any parting comments?
I do. I wanted to say something real quick, Deb.
Sure.
When Chef Earl was cooking and he had everything all set up, over to his left, it looked like on one of the trays, it was almost like a cupcake pan. And he had everything like arranged. It looked like a 6-cup cupcake pan. You know what I'm talking about?
Like the giant jumbo ones?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so I thought that's what it was, but then he started moving the cups around.
Oh.
But I thought that would actually be a really easy way to kind of keep it from knocking off the counter. you lost where you were at or whatever, it would keep it still all together.
That's a
And-
great idea.
Keep them together, keep them in order too.
And keep them
Yes.
exactly, and harder to knock them over if you got a little prep bowl inside of a concave thing
Yeah.
like a cupcake.
Yeah, it was kind of
That's a
a
good
optical
idea.
illusion until he started moving them. I thought it was a
Oh,
different
that's great. That's like those cupcake pans are just like Braille cells.
Yeah.
Yep.
If I may ask, what was this dish that they were preparing?
What was the what?
What was the dish that you prepared?
Oh, it was poached shrimp in an orange wine and butter sauce. And it was influenced with different flavors of ginger and onion and garlic.
Okay, poached shrimp and orange and ginger wine sauce.
Mm-hmm. If you
Okay.
write to info@theblindkitchen.com, I can send you the recipe.
All righty, very well.
I think these recipes will be available on our website, and we'll get to that in just a minute.
Okay.
Chef Earl, any last comments?
No, I just want to thank you for presenting me with this challenge, and thank you, Deborah, for thinking of me for this. Yeah, it means a lot. So hopefully I delivered. It gives me a lot more empathy because yeah, it just makes me realize the challenges that I place in front of you. And yeah, you blew me away as far as presentation. So keep on cooking.
I had a good teacher. Thank you, Chef Earl, for agreeing to do this.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Anytime.
so much. Thank you both so much for being such great sports on our Cooking Without Looking show. Before we leave you, I'd like you to remember to go to our website at www.cookingwithoutlooking.tv.wordpress.com and donate on the link at the top of the page for your chance to support our Cooking Without Looking TV show. And thank all of you in the audience today for joining us on the Cooking Without Looking TV show, Blind Chef versus Sighted Chef Challenge. If you'd like today's recipes, as well as past recipes, please go to our website at www.cookingwithoutlooking.tv.wordpress.com. And if you'd like to enjoy today's show or past shows, please go to our Cooking Without Looking YouTube channel. I wonder if any of you people know that if you teach students who are blind or partially sighted, they can use any of our shows for their students at no charge. And many teachers around the country and 74 countries around the world use our Cooking Without Looking TV show to teach their students. Viewers can also check out our Cooking Without Looking podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere they get their favorite podcasts. Excuse me. We're also available on all Alexa-enabled devices and Victor Reader. If viewers would like to donate to our Vision World Foundation to help us on our mission to change the way we see blindness, they can go to our website at www.cookingwithoutlooking.tv.wordpress.com and click on the link at the top of the page. Or for more information, please call 305-200-9104. And everyone can look for our next show sometime in July. So, on behalf of Annette Watkins, who couldn't be here today, and myself and Renee Rettmeister, and all of us at the Cooking Without Looking TV show and Vision World Foundation, thank you so much for joining us today. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sis.